All right, welcome to this Executive Explainer. Let's jump right in. Because today, we're uncovering exactly why the traditional financial playbook is just completely failing high-earning professionals. If you're out there generating massive value, putting in those brutal hours, but your take-home pay simply doesn't reflect it, well, you're in the right place, because you are about to experience a fundamental paradigm shift.
We've got a highly structured executive briefing today. We're going to walk through exactly how the wealthy leverage debt and assets to mitigate their tax burdens. So we'll quickly cover the obsolete wealth playbook, compare professionals to true entrepreneurs, unpack the logic of using debt, look at shielding wealth with assets, and finally, dive into the internal economy mindset.
Okay, Section 1. Let's look at the obsolete wealth playbook and see how the rules of wealth actually broke down decades ago.
Savers are losers and cash is trash. I know, it sounds incredibly aggressive, right? But honestly, it's just a stark mathematical reality. Think about it. When the government is printing literally trillions of dollars, the money sitting idle in your bank account is just bleeding purchasing power every single day. You see, the rules of the game fundamentally changed way back in 1971. That's when President Nixon took the US off the gold standard. So money was no longer tied to a tangible asset at all. It literally became an instrument of debt. And the result? Well, the more money they print, the more your hard-earned savings are penalized by inflation. It's basically a hidden tax.
So think about what school taught us. That obsolete playbook told us to save money, get out of debt, and work hard for a paycheck. But the wealthy, they're playing a completely different game. The new rules, the ones they actually use, dictate proactively using debt, investing in cash-flowing assets, and strategically, legally minimizing taxes.
Moving on to Section 2, professionals versus entrepreneurs. Understanding these new rules is what completely separates high-earning professionals from true entrepreneurs.
Let's picture two incredibly driven, highly successful people. We've got a brilliant, highly skilled doctor and a true entrepreneur. Now let's say both of them generate exactly $1 million this year. Sounds great for both of them, right? But the systemic outcome of their labor actually couldn't be further apart.
Despite all that success and all those years of school, the doctor gets hit with an absolutely staggering $750,000 tax bill. That is $750,000. Why? Because earned income is literally the highest tax revenue stream on the planet. The harder this doctor works, the more aggressively the system penalizes them. It's wild. Now, in stark contrast, the entrepreneur keeps their entire $1 million. They legally pay zero in taxes. Zero. And that's because they aren't trading time for money. They are acquiring assets. And that is behavior the tax code actively rewards and incentivizes.
Now, hold on, because here is a really critical, often misunderstood distinction. Simply being self-employed does not automatically make you an entrepreneur. In fact, out of the 28 million small businesses in America, the 24 million non-employee solo business owners actually bear the absolute highest tax burdens of anyone. They're basically trapped without the systemic protections of a true business entity.
All right, Section 3, the logic of using debt. Let's dive right into exactly how the true 1% utilize debt as an active tool rather than a liability.
You hear it all the time, right? Financial experts constantly preaching about getting out of debt. But what if that's actually terrible advice? The rich know a secret. In a world of endless money printing, debtors get rich while savers get crushed. It works like this. You borrow money today, inflation devalues the currency over time, and you pay back that exact same debt with cheaper dollars tomorrow. It's a game changer. To put this into a real-world perspective, imagine an entrepreneur refinancing $300 million in debt, dropping the rate from 5% down to 2.5%. Doing that dramatically lowers the cost of their money and massively boosts their monthly income. They are actively managing leverage to create millions in cash flow, practically out of thin air. Okay, Section 4, shielding wealth with assets. Let's look at the actual mechanism used to shield that wealth from the massive tax burdens we saw earlier.
So how do we actually do this? Well, here is the exact 4-step mechanism to zero out your taxes. Step 1, you generate income as an entrepreneur. Step 2, you immediately deploy that income into real estate. Step 3, you utilize a 4-to-1 bank step-up to multiply your buying power. And finally, Step 4, you utilize things like depreciation to legally erase the tax liability on your original earnings.
And guys, here's where the math just gets incredible. This is the 4-to-1 bank step-up.
Basically, $1 million of your own investor capital leverages $4 million from the bank. So you aren't just buying a $1 million property, you're controlling $5 million worth of real estate. The bank takes the heavy risk, but you reap 100% of the cash flow, the inflation benefits, and the whole shebang of tax deductions.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the internal economy mindset. Because ultimately, making this shift isn't just about financial mechanics.
We really have to fundamentally redefine the word entrepreneur. It is absolutely not a job title. It's an internal locus of control. It's a specific mindset and a distinct skill set. You aren't just reacting to whatever the external world throws at you, you're operating by a completely different set of rules, entirely focused on building and controlling an internal economy that thrives no matter what the market is doing.
Just think about it. The person relying on the external economy, they are paralyzed by inflation, by the scary news cycle, by corporate layoffs. They rely on jobs to survive. But someone with an internal economy mindset, they look at those exact same economic disasters and see massive opportunities to acquire distressed assets, use failure to grow, and pivot to new markets. They create wealth from within.
There's a saying that the moment you take a paycheck, you're an employee. And it hits hard because relying on a steady paycheck can easily make you a slave to money. Losing that safety net? Yeah, it's terrifying, but it also forces you to get smarter, hungrier, and infinitely stronger. Strip away the illusion of corporate security, and you finally discover what you are truly capable of building.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really hard question you need to ask yourself. Are you building a resilient internal economy, or are you still relying on the obsolete rules of the external world? Take a close look at how you generate and protect your wealth today, because honestly, it might just be time for your own executive paradigm shift.